560. The Answer.
Another great example of communist utopia, Squirrel. Pick a spot. You don't just have to pick CPS students.
Monday night was pitch dark in Havana for the second day in a row, as the national grid struggled to restore power after the sixth nationwide blackout of the year struck on Sunday.
See, I'll admit it, Squirrel, I'm a little surly today, and I'll tell you why. I've been getting text messages from, acquaintances. Oh, interview this guy. He's running for this. He's not a bad guy. What party is he? Oh, well, he's got to run as a Democrat. Oh, he's got to run as a Democrat? Until you understand what this cancer has done. It's not just Chicago. It's anywhere it exists. And when I say that, people go, what do you mean? You mean even doctors? Absolutely. And I don't just mean Fauci. You mean lawyers? Oh, especially lawyers. When they become judges in their little costumes, the freakazoids that they are, they make certain that even if they get caught, the other Democrats scot-free.
$90 million. That's the amount of money Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison says his office has won back from Medicaid fraudsters. But
Now let that breathe. Let that breathe. Keith Ellison, this dimwit, I mean, you want to talk about a moron, on tape guaranteeing the protection from his office for Somalian pirates who all resemble each other. Guaranteed it. And you know what he did, Squirrel? He delivered, because all he has to do is tell those other moron zombies, known as Democrats, that he recovered $90 million. It's not even 10% of that. And every step and fetch Democrat will continue to vote for Mao Zedong or any other Democrat in Minnesota or a Democrat in California or a Democrat in New York, because they are the zombie commie.
Investigates found a large portion of that money may never make it back into the state coffers. Investigative reporter Kirsten Swanson continues her reporting on Medicaid fraud cases. Looking at the money tonight, Kristen.
Well, Lindsay, the Attorney General's office does not actually go out and collect that money. That's a point both the AG and his staff made repeatedly as we've reported on this story. But we found that big dollar figure that you've read in headlines or heard during hearings might be a bit confusing.
It's a statement we've heard repeatedly.
We've prosecuted and convicted over 300 people since I've been Attorney General for Medicaid fraud.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison touting his office's record on prosecuting Medicaid fraud. He also throws in an additional stat.
We've won more than 300 convictions in Medicaid fraud and won more than $80 million in judgments and restitution. And recovered over $80 million, over $80 million in recovery in terms of restitution.
Those recoveries are now north of $90 million, according to this table provided by the AG's office.
But that money is not necessarily back in the bank, or in this case, the state's general fund. The $90 million figure represents settlements, judgments, and restitution ordered by the court. But what's actually paid back is just a fraction of that.
5 Investigates analyzed hundreds of criminal cases involving Medicaid fraud prosecuted by the Minnesota Attorney General's office. Since 2019, the courts have ordered nearly $32 million in restitution, but we found defendants only paid back a little more than $3 million.
Let's talk about.
That's the result of even when they're caught and they skate without felonies. This is what Democrats deliver for campaign contributions. You understand that? And I couldn't help but notice. Well, they couldn't track the money, and they couldn't do. Who can track the money? Who does actually track all the transactions? Who facilitates it all? And you know how you can tell, Squirrel? The very institutions that misuse power against Donald Trump and the Republicans and the non-Democrats and the American capitalists. Those institutions, all of a sudden, they can spot trouble even where there's not even an indictment. Like Capital One. Big merger with Discover. I didn't hear that on the news. How did that get through? Spirit was just too big, too much, would have had too much of a monopoly. But Capital One, Discover, and all the banks that they control, that's not a monopoly, huh, Squirrel?
Capital One says it closed hundreds of bank accounts associated with President Trump and his businesses for, quote, anti-money laundering reasons.
What about the Somalians and the $19 billion that they stole? You let that slide, though, huh? Capital One. And then you get to realize just how deep this corruption really is, which is why you won't hear about the national success only among the few. You'll hear about the cost of inflation, created, ironically, in Democrat ghetto areas, and how they are here to help you.
Starting this Friday, August 7th, and for 10 days until Sunday, August 16th, shoppers will pay 0 state sales tax on essentials like clothing and school supplies.
Whoa, look at you. And what about that new tax that went in? So they give you some sort of a benefit, and they claim it's going to save $55 million. What's the figure on the tax increase of the 5 Collier counties? For the CTA, where 90% of the snipe hop the rail. What is it? Can't figure it out. This is the beauty of what we're dealing with. Morons.
You live here?
Yes.
Well, maybe you know what a zombie is.
When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
How horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats?
312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on The Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.